Hello everyone, my name is Bridget Baggett. Today we're actually going to be talking about attracting top talent, finding and attracting top talent. First, I want to thank everyone for logging in today and taking an hour out their day to listen to some techniques on how to attract top talent to your organization. If this is the first webinar you attended, I usually give about a 20-second background about myself. Again, I'm Bridget Baggett. I'm the Director of Recruiting as well as an HR consultant for Career Innovations. I started Career Innovations back in 2007. It was actually to help companies find top talent as well as zoom in on some of the passive candidates that aren't currently looking. We are a niche firm. We usually work with IT, healthcare, and engineering companies as well, some sales and marketing industries and those type of positions. So we've opened the market up to help usually small to medium-sized companies. These are the companies that only one-man operation or two-man operation. They don't have a huge recruiting department, so they do need an extra hand sometimes in finding and locating top talent. We are actually getting requests from startups because it also seems that again they also need assistance attracting top talent as well as just branding themselves in the industry. So today we're going to talk about attracting top talent, what your what your organization can do, what they're currently doing, and how you can actually improve some of the techniques that you're doing. The first slide is what we're going to cover. It's probably a whole laundry list of things that you see right here. Again, we are going to touch on all of these things. It looks very lengthy, but again, all this is going to tie together once we start. You'll see how all these points will actually be touched on as we go through the presentation. What I will talk about is learning how you can use resumes to your advantage. These are the resumes or the candidates that you aren't going to hire. Instead of just having them in the database, how you can actually use those to your advantage. We're also going to talk about the limitation of resumes. You're going to learn how to maximize your application process, how to maximize your professional references. We're going to learn why branding plays an important role in attracting top talent. Find out the best sources to find talent in your industry. Learn the latest social technologies available for recruiting. Again, the social technologies is a workshop in itself. There's so many technologies out there. I'm going to just touch on a little bit on the technologies, but again, we're going to put together a workshop that'll be exclusively for social recruiting and social technology because again, that's a whole workshop in itself. Learn why post and pray method is not effective. Discover the critical factors you must consider when locating talent, and learn how to make your organization or the positions more attractive to top talent. So let's go ahead and get into this and get started. The first thing I wanted to touch on is branding. I think branding is almost the most, if not the most important thing that you can do for your organization. And again, as I put this presentation together, I threw up some logos up there. And without even saying the company's name or the company's slogan or line, I'm pretty sure you can already see and tell what each organization is. We have Apple, we have Nike, we have Red Cross, and McDonald's. These are just the symbols, again, the logos they use. And with these brands, you also can associate a word or some type of atmosphere associated with these logos and these brands. That's all branding is. And you have to make sure as a HR professional, as a hiring manager, and as an organization as a whole, that you have a positive brand out there, and that positive brand is actually targeting top talent or passive candidates, because these are the ones that aren't looking for work right now, but definitely would consider your company if you were visible. the five things that I think that should be included in branding. The first one is being transparent, have some type of transparency. I think that's very, very crucial. I think you should have a no strings attached, no fine print, and pretty much what you see is what you get type of approach. No one wants surprises when they take on a position or take on a new career. No one doesn't want to be misled. They don't want the job description to be totally different from the actual position. And that's happening out here. Sometimes people are getting into jobs and been led on to think it was a particular type of position. They get in there and they figure out it's totally opposite of what they envisioned. So make sure you're very, very transparent. You must have a defined corporate culture. And what I mean by that, you have to show your culture somewhere out there where people can recognize your culture and what you're about. And usually what I do when I do talk to organizations about their brand or about their corporate culture, I ask them, how would you describe your brand or organization using one sentence or one word? What can you say about your company or your organizations that people are going to relate to that's going to draw them to your company? We're not talking about a 30-second elevator speech. We're not talking about a long, drawn speech about the products and services you offer and what you can do. We're talking about what are you known for. You want to be a leader in your industry. You want to be an expert. So how are you going to differentiate your organization from everyone else? So these are some key things that you should be thinking about when you're trying to define your corporate culture. I'm pretty sure if you've seen a lot of startups pop all over the place, their corporate culture seems very relaxed, they're family oriented, they have a fun environment. They have engaging activities among their employees inside and outside of work. So think of things that you can do or have done in the past to engage your workers to create this fun environment that's going to attract someone to want to work there. It's pretty much as simple as, is this person going to be sitting in a stuffy cubicle all day, or is this going to be an open workforce type of communication or type of setup? These are things that top talent and applicants or candidates are looking at. Some examples of a fun environment that I have come across was some companies take trips with their employees outside of work. Some companies have book clubs set up. Some companies have basketball teams or soccer teams set up associated with their organization. So what are you doing to define that company culture that's going to make it a fun, entertaining place where somebody would want to apply to? Engaging. Are you engaging top talent? Are you engaging your applicants or the candidates that are coming across your company? You also want to be somewhat creative in that. You want to be visible online and in social media. Engaging can also be saying something with your customers or clients. If you are an organization that has clients or customers, they should be providing feedback on your website. They should be providing how excellent your company is. It has to be somewhat engaging so when they look at this, they know this is somewhere that I want to be. You also want to be accessible. That's the next one. Is your company accessible? Is it visible? How do they know if you're hiring? I have been to so many websites of organizations where I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen and search for that little tiny hyperlink that says careers or hiring now at the very bottom of their website. And that's the only way I'll know if they have any type of openings whatsoever. You're not accessible. You're not visible to the average job seeker or to even a passive candidate that may have just stumbled upon your website. So you need to be somewhat visible, and they need to know that you're out there looking for top talent. You also want to be socially connected, and that also falls in the lines of social media, but it's not all social media. That's why I put socially connected instead of social media. Socially connected goes beyond social media. Socially connected defines your character, your organization's integrity. It goes beyond just posting a post on Facebook or posting a link on LinkedIn. This is something that when you're socially connected, it defines who you are as a company. It's as simple as replying back to emails in a timely manner, sending updates or statuses to people to candidates that apply to your positions, being considerate and showing empathy for job seekers that may be out of work. Put yourself in their shoes. Build some type of connection with these job seekers, with these passive candidates, and with everyone in general. And the reason why I say socially connected, as far as replying back to emails, I once had a candidate or a job seeker reach out to me directly, and they were interested in seeing if I had any positions available, and they sent me their resume, and unfortunately I didn't have any positions. Their resume was great. They would have been a great candidate if I actually had an opening in which I could place them in. But instead of me just blowing it off and say, well, I keep them in my database, or I'll reach out to them, I emailed the person back. I emailed them back and said, hey, I don't have any openings right now, but you're a great candidate. I definitely would like to build a relationship and keep in touch with you in case I do come across something that your expertise will fill. And when I got that email from the person, they replied back, and they weren't upset. They were actually surprised. They were thankful and grateful that I even replied back to them. And it's sad because I've come across these stories so many times where they're not even getting feedback. They're being socially avoided, so they're not even getting feedback when they do apply. So you definitely want to have some type of social connection, more on a personal level, showing that you're a human. You have some compassion to what's going on, and you're not hiding behind a Twitter profile or a Facebook profile. You're actually showing and being, showing yourself and being genuine in your intentions. Next thing we're going to talk about is job boards. Job boards, I'm pretty sure if you Google job boards, everything in the book will come up. There are a lot of job boards out there that you can use. Again, I'm going to try to make this as broad as possible, but you can actually tailor this to your industry. I'm not a huge fan of job boards. Career Innovations is very limited on what they use job boards for. Most of the times we get requests that are looking for a particular type of candidate, a particular niche, and most of our clients pretty much have exhausted their possibilities or their resources when they come to us. So they've already, more of them already done the job board route. So they're not looking for us to duplicate their efforts. So we're not a big fan of job boards, but they are useful, if you use them right, and I really think that job boards, if you follow the 5 things that I have on this slide, you can actually have job boards be beneficial in your search. I think if you do decide to go the job board route, you should definitely invest in job boards that have filters. If you are in an industry that you're a niche industry, you're not looking for just a general customer service rep or just a general type of employee, I definitely would invest into a niche job board. There are a lot of niche job boards out there that tailor just to a particular industry. You have a higher chance of coming across a candidate that fits that criteria that you're looking for if you go to a niche job board. Of course, everyone knows if you want to do IT, go use DICE. If you're in constructions, they have a constructionjob.com job board. So definitely look for job boards that are in your industry or in your niche. You also want to look at how these jobs are distributed. That's one thing you want to look at. That's the difference between using just a job board like your Career Builder or like your Monster versus a job aggregator. Aggregators are different. They're different, and you're probably thinking, okay, how's a job board different from an actual job aggregators? What they are, job aggregators are like your Indeeds.com, your Simply Hire, and your Glassdoor.com, things like that. What they do, they're kind of similar to a Google type of thing. And I don't know if you've ever Googled a job or just put a job title in, you'll actually get jobs come up. That's what that does. It actually will send jobs according to keywords that are searched. And you have to remember, they're actually becoming the leader in the quote-unquote job board industry. Those three that I talked about, Indeed, Simply Hired, and Glassdoor, have generated more unique visitors each month than Monster and CareerBuilder combined. Many of clients are generating 50% or more of their applicants directly from these sites. So a lot of people are understanding visibility is important. The downside for Monster and CareerBuilder, which have gotten up to speed with using these aggregators, is that they're starting to push these jobs, their jobs, using the aggregators as well, because they're starting to see that a lot of people aren't just logging into CareerBuilder or logging into Monster to find these jobs, and that's what a job board is. The aggregators more so distribute the jobs evenly according to keywords that are searched on a particular search engine. So that's the difference. You're going to get more traffic. You're going to get more niche traffic, people that are searching particular keywords that are in that job description. So that's why those particular outlets are generating definitely more traffic and more applicants that way. You also want to look at the quality. That's also important. So not only how the job is distributed, the traffic that you're getting, but what type of candidates or applicants are you getting off the job boards? That's very important, because if you're not looking at that, you're wasting your money. And the one thing I did have about job boards that didn't settle right with me is that if there are not any filters in place, anyone with an internet connection in a desktop or a laptop can apply to your job. So now you're being bombarded with hundreds of resumes, and 99.9% of them aren't even qualified. So definitely make sure these 5 factors are in place. I actually did a blog on this, job boards hitting the spot. It's on the website. You'll have to scroll down. It's probably 4 or 5 entries below. It was done earlier in the year. And I actually talked about the features of job boards. It's actually done by the Job Board Doctor, which is a niche job board that takes the analytical data from job boards and creates surveys with it. And I thought it was pretty neat to figure out, okay, what the job boards offered and some of the features that were very, very important to hiring authorities. So we're going to take a first look at the first one that I looked at was actually the job board features. The question was, if you use job boards in your recruitment efforts, which of the following job board features or deliverables are more value to you? And they had a whole slew of different type of qualities in different types of features that was offered, anywhere from integrating with your ATS, how much it costs per hire, the ability to email. So it had different type of features that was actually that you could pick from to see if it was applicable to you. But come to find out, over 50%, actually almost 70% at 68.4%, found that the quality of candidates was most important to them. So when they're using job boards, all the other bells and whistles are great. It's great to have it to integrate with social media. It's great to have it to create an employer brand. That was all good. But the bottom line, they were paying for the quality of candidates, and that's what they were expecting, and that was most valuable to them. How about looking at the quality versus quantity? We took a look at that. So we wanted to see, okay, when you're using a job board, what's the most challenge that you face? And come to find out that feature that was most important to them, where's their most challenge? That was very challenging to them. They found there was a lack of qualified applicants. So it was kind of ironic to see that that was the most important thing they wanted out of a job board, but that's not what they were getting. There were a lack of qualified candidates or lack of qualified applicants. And I can tell you right now, superstars aren't on job boards. People that are exceed in their industry and are leaders in their industry, they have an entrance and exit plan. they aren't using job boards. Job boards are their last defense. You know, I know a lot of people that already know if they have a, you know, if they ever looking to make a career move, they have someone on speed dial that they can call and refer them to someone else. So their last resort is to look on job boards looking for a job. Most of the time they already have that lined up. So if they do want to make a career move, it's nothing more than a phone call away. And again, that's one thing that's very, very lacking with job boards is the quality of candidates. Let's go ahead and look at being social. Being social, far as being socially visible online using different avenues. You have your Facebook, your Twitter, your Pinterest, your YouTube, discussion groups, blogs, forums, and comments. That's something that will get you out there and at the same time brand your company. And again, it goes beyond more than just making a post. It's about actually being engaged in the process. You want to not only post something, you want to be able to reply back, you want to start discussions, you want to have a blog and have a forum, and also have comments. You know, read the comments, see what's going on these certain platforms. So you definitely want to look at that on becoming social. I also say, as far as finding top talent, don't just rely on your well-known Facebook, Twitter. If you're a niche industry, go on and beyond and start looking for groups that are tailored towards your niche, organizations and associations that are tailored towards your company. These are the things that you need to be a part of, because this is where top talent is. A lot of top talent, again, that are leaders in their industries, they're members of their industries associations. They're members of their industries affiliate and partnerships. So you definitely have to take a look at, is your company in those type of organizations? Are they a part of those type of organizations? Me, I'm in HR. Of course, the standard for HR would be being part of the Society of Human Resource Management, SHRM. You know, so if you're in manufacturing, you should be part of some manufacturing associations. If you're in marketing, you should be a part of some, you know, the AMA, the American Marketing Association. So these are some of the things that your company should be a part of, because guess what? That's where the top talent is. They're engaged in these type of organizations. Having a blog is crucial. I think that having a blog not only gives you a voice in the industry, it also gives insight on topics that many people may not be aware of. You know, they want to be able to come to your website or be able to read a trend that's happening in their industry and look at you as a leader, look at your organization as a leader in that industry. I think that blogs are very important. I have stumbled upon many companies I didn't even know exist by clicking on a link of something that was of interest to me, and found myself after a website, didn't know the website exists, but end up bookmarking it, because I found that they had some great relevant information. I actually subscribe to their newsletter. I have them in my news feed. And again, this was a company I never knew about. So definitely blogs gets the word out and makes you visible, and it also creates some type of being noticed in your industry as a leader. So you definitely want to have a blog, participate in forums. There's so many Yahoo groups out there, LinkedIn groups out there. There's so many groups that your company can be involved in and have a voice. There's a lot of forums that go on about different things in your industry or in a general industry. Get active. Start responding and leading discussions in different forums. That would get you noticed. Someone that may not have known that your company exists may answer a question in a forum, or may start a discussion in your discussion group. So you definitely want to be very active and visible in these discussion groups and in these forums. And again, looking at the comments is also as well. It's not good just to have people respond and reply to different things that you put out online. You should also be engaged with them, which means that if someone leaves a comment, reply back. You know, again, this takes work. You know, I understand if you're just a one-man show or a one-woman show, this can be a lot of work. There's a lot of things in place that you can automate a lot of this stuff. A lot of technology, one off by the top of my head I use is Hootsuite. It's absolutely free. If you have 5, it would connect up to 5 social media outlets, and you can actually have it timed to go out certain times of the day. So you can sign up for Hootsuite, get a free account, and actually start gauging your audience in a timely manner. Again, reply back to the comments. You know, that gets people talking, and you know, it creates feedback when they know that someone is on the other end listening. So definitely take the comments seriously and reply back to them. You know, if someone leaves a comment, hey, even if it's something as simple as great point, you know, you have a, you know, that's a great idea, you know, tell me more about it. Something to let them know that you're listening. You're not just a robot behind the computer screen. Let's get socially engaged. We actually looked on different types of social engagement as far as when it pays off to post on different types of websites or different type of social media outlets. I think that's crucial. There's no point of posting something that's not going to be read or seen. That's the whole point of social media, is to be social. So I think doing the research of finding out when it pays off to post off. And again, this is going to vary across the board in different industries. That's just like, you know, if someone's in the entertainment industry, in a nightclub industry, their audience, in what time their audience look at posts are going to be totally different from somebody that's an engineering firm or that's an IT firm. So definitely you have to know your audience and you have to know your followers to be able to gauge when it pays off. We do have a couple of slides that are going to show you pretty much the rule of thumb in general, what are the best times and what, you know, to post and when it's most engaging. The first one is actually when it pays off to post on Facebook. This was actually research done by the Social Bakers. It had over 2 million Facebook posts that they analyzed from April the 30th to July the 28th of 2013. So this was just only a couple of months ago. It actually was 2.8 million to be exact posts that they analyzed and looked at. And they found that admins prefer posting during this time period. They prefer posting during the engagement rate, but they're also looking at when were people more engaged in the post. If you look at the figures on there, they say that admins prefer to post from Tuesday to Friday. So you see Tuesday through Friday, that's when a lot of posts are going up. Of course, it's the work week. They find out that, right, if you should see this, the updates posted on Monday had the biggest chance of ranking in the top 4,000 most engaging posts of the day. Followed by Monday is Wednesday and Friday. Those are your strong days to reach your fans. So they're saying Monday is your top day, Wednesday followed by Friday. Weekends seemed to didn't work as well. They had low traffic, usually translates to more interactions. You get more likes and more comments and more shares. So they're looking at during the week, of course during the week, Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday, you know, either they have their IT team posting this, or they have some type of social media team or marketing team doing the post. So you can see how this is going to be more posts and engagement during the week on their behalf. But they're also showing that Monday, Wednesday, Friday gives you the best chance at the most engaging posts. Let's look at Twitter. I had this slide, tweet me. Everyone's mobile. Again, different platforms are going to have different numbers and different statistics. You have to look at Twitter more as a mobile device. No one's usually logging onto Twitter, reading posts or tweeting. Most of the time people are tweeting simply from their smartphones, simply from their Android. So you have to remember that the days of the weeks and the time of day in which people are tweeting are going to vary. It's going to be different from LinkedIn. It's going to be different from Google+. So everyone is going to have a different time frame. So tweet me, the most engaging day of the week on Twitter. Let's take a look at this one. This study was actually done by the same company, Social Bakers. They actually looked at the top 1,000 posts. They looked at the top 1,000 most engaging posts between August the 1st and July the 2nd. They wanted to look at this to find out which days of the week are best for posting on Twitter. As you can see, Friday has the largest quantity of the most engaging tweets. However, when you compare Friday's engagement rate to the entire sample of tweets, which is your relative engagement rate, we found that Saturday took the lead. And you have to realize it seems that brands get the most bang for their buck by posting on Saturdays. There's a reason behind that. Though there's obviously a lower amount of tweets on that day, the engagement rates on Saturday went through the roof. This is due to the fact that brands neglect Saturdays and Sundays as a communication opportunity. It can only, and it says it only could be that because traffic is a little bit slower over the weekend, followers have less tweets, and it seems less engaging. So people are starting to realize when people are out of the office, especially organizations, you have a team that's doing this Monday through Friday, people neglect the weekends, but you're missing a lot of potential top talent and a lot of potential people out there that may want to engage with you or may want to be social with you. So Saturday and Sunday, again, it seems like that was, far as relative engagement rate, was the highest on Saturday. And a lot of people, again, this stuff comes through their phone. On the weekend, they have time to tweet. They have time to read tweets. They have time to retweet things. So you definitely want to definitely look into setting up some type of autoresponders or set up some type of responders to do this. Again, Hootsuite's a great tool to do that. Actually set up an account that would send out tweets on the weekend. You can have this timed, and it would timely send out tweets on the weekend on your behalf. That way you're staying visible the entire weekend. We broke this down to 5 other social media outlets. These are pretty much the rule of thumb. This goes across the board for everyone. Again, it may vary within each industry, but this is kind of like the general rule of thumb for any type of business that you're trying to do on social media. Let's first look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is most often used right before work or right after work hours. Tuesday and Thursday typically receive the most social media traffic from business people. Posting during work hours receive less traffic. Again, this all makes sense. People are at work. They're not on LinkedIn looking at your posts. They're not, being engaged. As of now, I'm working, giving a presentation. I'm pretty sure some great material out there on LinkedIn, but I can't see it. So you definitely want to keep in consideration or consider the time of day on LinkedIn. Best times is from 7 to 8:30 in the morning, very, very early in the morning before people go to work or after work. Worst times is Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And guess what? That's when most time people post. And you're missing a lot of potential candidates out there because you're posting during the day when top talent and candidates are working. Facebook almost has 1 billion Facebook mobile. Right now there are 751 million people. They're almost close to 1 billion Facebook users that are using them mobily, either on their smartphone, iPhone, or some type of Android device. 80% of mobile users check their phones early each morning. This is going to people's phones. What's the best way to get your message across in someone's phone? People are using their phones more than laptops these days. People are using their phones more than computers these days. So definitely capitalize on that. People are not likely to check Facebook during work hours. Not only are they not likely to check Facebook, a lot of companies have blocked Facebook from their entire internal server. You can't even get to Facebook using a company's computer. Again, this is not all companies, but I do know some companies that do block social media as far as Twitter, Facebook, even LinkedIn has been blocked, that they cannot engage in any type of social activities while at work. So you have to take that into consideration. Top talent, you know, sometimes may want to check out your company, but because of the parameters that are in place, unfortunately can't. So take that in consideration. Facebook, weekdays, 6 to 8 a.m., early in the morning, 2 to 5, can be right before they get off of work or during lunch hour. Worst times, all weekends, 10 to 4 a.m., so 10 o'clock at night to 4 in the morning. Again, U.S. people are sleeping, you know, so between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., people are usually asleep at that time and aren't really checking Facebook updates. Twitter, different, unlike Facebook. Again, like I said, all social media outlets aren't the same, so Twitter's a little bit different. Twitter engagement goes up 30% on weekends compared to weekdays. Weekends probably a little bit more active. It's easier to post a tweet than to try to update a status. I also think that people are more accessible on the weekend. A lot of people are tweeting things, what they're doing on the weekend. You know, you've seen it before, people taking pictures, just generally telling everything they're doing online through Twitter. You have to remember, short tweets are more effective. They're more likely to get read. Even though they give you 100+ characters, don't try to write a book. People aren't reading it. You want to keep it short and sweet. Twitter also, you should be having your tweets retweeted. As for retweets, you're far more likely to be retweeted. When Career Innovations tweets, we automatically ask for a retweet. We put the abbreviated RT in front of all of our tweets, because when we tweet it out, we want people to retweet it. It's different when you have your followers read it, but when someone retweets your tweet, they're actually exposing your tweet to their followers. So you definitely want to get as many people to retweet your relevant information as possible. So like they said, it's simple as asking for it. Put RT in front of your tweets to get people to retweet what you're asking. Use hashtags. I'm pretty sure if you're keep up with the news and keep up with some of the entertainment out there, they actually did a Saturday Night Live skit on hashtags. It was hilarious, but it's true. I think people are using hashtags more than ever. Sometimes I think they're going overboard with using hashtags, but they're being used. That's the bottom line. If they're being used, you definitely should be using hashtags on your hiring opportunities, on positions that you're posting on social media outlets. People are using hashtags, so you definitely want to have your tweets relevant, but you also want to also have hashtags so people can follow these hashtags and follow what you're saying. It shows the best times are weekends from 1 to 3. The worst times are at night, again, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. People are usually sleeping around that time. I covered 2 more, blog and Google Fast Facts about that. The best time to actually post on a blog or on Google+. Again, if you don't have a blog, I definitely think you should invest in one. You can, if you don't have one or you don't have the ability to integrate a blog with your current career portal or your current website, there's so many freelance or free floating blog technologies you can use. I know blogger.com is one of them. Again, these are absolutely no cost resources that you can use to get a blog going. And like I said, have a blog to be active on it. Don't have a blog just for the sake of having a blog. You want to have relevant information and you want to have it current. You don't want to have someone come to your site, and this has personally happened to me. I've gone to a site and seen a blog that, you know, last entry was in 2011. You know, that tells a lot about your company that you haven't posted anything since 2011. So many trends have changed, so much technology has changed, and only thing that you're talking about is something that happened in 2011. So definitely keep that updated. If you have to have someone in your IT or social media or marketing department, something as simple as having a entry come out once a week. Even once a month is good. Have it go out with your newsletter. But have some type of relevant information go out. And it's not just to have it out there. It's great because it's good for Google and it keeps things searchable. It keeps your industry at the top of the search. So when someone's searching something, and again, as I've mentioned previously, I've stumbled across different type of companies I never knew exist by clicking on a blog or clicking on some type of white paper that they had out there, and it led me to their website, and I end up, like I said, bookmarking their website. So you definitely want to have some type of relevant information out there. Best times, Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 11 a.m. Worst times, 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. Again, that's the times when people are sleeping. Google Plus, some of the fast facts with Google Plus. As with all postings, nighttime posts will pretty much perform the worst. You want to analyze your Google page. And I really think that you should be analyzing all your social media pages and looking at the activity, looking at the type of candidates or type of followers that you have or type of people that are liking your page, and try to tailor your time towards that. If you're in a particular industry where you have, like they said, a lot of business people following your page, some of the times that are recommended may not be the best times because they're working. Again, if you're in a different industry where you have a younger audience and you have a lot of people of a different crowd following you, it may be best to post at night. These are when this is when this type of audience is up, or this is when they're active is at night. So definitely analyze the people that are following your company and figure out what type of plan that you want to implement. For Google Plus, the best times are 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. so in the morning. Worst times, again, 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. Again, that's overnight. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is the application process. And I touched a little bit on that in the first page, on the first slide, in regards to being accessible and being able to have job seekers know where to apply and when to apply. I think that's very, very crucial in your application process. I'm just going to start with being visible. Again, if you're going through a career portal, or if you have some type of application process on your website, it needs to be visible. They need to know that you're hiring. A candidate shouldn't have to go to your website and try to find the career button or try to find the hiring now button. This is something that should be very inviting. Your application process, 4 things, should be very easy, should be straightforward, almost like a click to apply approach. I see a lot of job aggregators using click to apply, and I think that's very smart and it's very seamless. They have to put in their name, put in their email, and I think it may ask for their phone number, and they just click the link to their LinkedIn profile, or they just upload their resume and they're done. That is the most simple way I can see that makes the application process so much easier, so much faster for the job seeker or the person that's interested. You have to remember, top talent are not checking for you. They're not, looking for your company. And when they do come across the opportunity they may be interested in, they don't feel like filling out 14 pages of information. And I'm not telling you what I think. I'm actually telling you what I know. I've actually, just for research purposes, I've applied to jobs. I've applied just to look at their process. There's some companies out there that, of course, remain nameless, that you have to create a profile first. You have to do this. I've seen some processes that are so long they have a save and continue later button. So I can save this and come back to it. That's how long this is. 8, 10, 14 pages of stuff I have to fill out, that it's so long that you give me an option to save it and come back to it. You got to be kidding me. You know, so you have to remember that is a turnoff for somebody that has a job. You know, of course, somebody that's unemployed and, you know, and applying to anything out there, of course, they're going to take the hour and a half to fill out your application. But more likely, you're not going to hire them anyway. You know, the ones that you want don't have the time to sit there and try to fill out 13 or 14 pages of information. Make this as easy as possible. I think the click to apply feature that they've now implemented out there, that a lot of companies are starting to take wind of, because I'm seeing more and more companies using the click to apply, definitely something that your company should invest in. So the feedback is another one. I think feedback is crucial, not only for the job seeker, but for your brand. Again, as a headhunter and as a recruitment firm, I've come across a lot of candidates that have applied and, you know, it's a one line, hey, I applied and never heard back. You know, I've applied to X amount of companies and I never heard back from none of them. You know, how does that make your brand look? You know, how does that make your brand look when they tell someone, you know, yeah, I applied there, but they never, you know, I didn't even get an email from them. I didn't get anything from them. That reflects poorly on your company. So you definitely want to invest in some type of autoresponders. You know, it doesn't have to be a human that responds back all the time, because I know when you get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resumes, it would be almost impossible to have someone handcraft an email each and every time. A lot of these big box companies are invested in autoresponders. After a certain amount of time, it sends them a notice that, hey, either you're under consideration, you're not a fit. It's sending them some type of feedback in the process. They're not sitting on their hands and knees waiting to know, did they even get my resume? Provide some type of feedback, because it's hurting your brand out there. Again, autoresponders are one type of tool that you can implement in the hiring process or in the recruitment process that's going to give them some type of feedback on whether or not you're going to see them as a candidate or not. I think that's very crucial. And the worst thing you want to have out there is your name tarnished because, you know, you're just not even replying back. And again, that goes back to being socially connected. You want to have some type of compassion and empathy for the people that are applying to your company and show that, hey, even if you didn't get the job, have something in place. Career Innovations actually has a career portal, and I don't know if you ever checked out our site. We have a career portal that we put in place for candidates that we can't place, you know, and it's the truth. We're as transparent as possible when it comes to this. We're not going to place every single person that applies to us or every single person that has some type of interest in our job openings or in our company. We have a career portal that we can send them to that helps them with resumes, help them with interviewing techniques, help them to even search for jobs. We actually give free webinars and free webcasts on job seekers that may need help on actually writing a resume, that may need help on interviewing, that may need help on putting together a creative marketing package of themselves. We provide these outlets for them because we know how it feels to be out there, you know, on an island where you feel that, you know, you can't get the resources that you need. So we put something in place so we can keep our brand relevant and also in a positive light, because we do want people, even that we can't help them, we want to at least have some type of resource in place. So we went beyond just having autoresponders. We actually have a tool in place for the ones that we can't personally place ourselves. We can give them something else to do while they're at their job search, but will also improve their job search at the same time. So you want to also consider that as well. So after you've implemented everything, you have the resume. This is when the real search begins. This is when you're actually starting to look at all the resumes out of everything you've done to get engagement, to get people to make your company visible. They're now starting to apply. They're now starting to inquire about positions. So you finally get the resume. What do? Of course, if it's somebody that you want to hire or someone that you have interest in, of course you're going to put them through the hiring process or put them through the recruitment process, setting up interviews and things of that nature. But what do you do with the resumes of candidates that you're not going to hire? Besides providing feedback, what else should you be doing? Take a look at those resumes. There's gold in those resumes that you're not using. Use resumes to source. I'm going to touch on all of these and what you can do. First thing is you use resumes to source, and what I mean by that is that even if you're not going to hire the person, and this happens to us, you know, pretty frequently since we're in this industry, but say they're a great candidate. Say they're a great candidate, but they just quite don't hit the spot. You know, they have everything, but they, you know, they may not be a cultural fit with the organization, or they may be missing a crucial component that's needed to do the job. You can still reach out and build a relationship with that individual. And you'll be amazed how many people will help you and lead you to other candidates that are looking in that industry. This has happened to us all the time. That's why we actually label ourselves as a referral-based firm, because a lot of our candidates come strictly off of referrals. We get a lot of our candidates from other people that apply to jobs. So you definitely want to use resumes to your benefit. When you talk to a candidate you may not want to hire, ask them. You know, and a lot of times, and let's be honest, a lot of times these resumes that you have been sitting for so long, a lot of these people have already been hired by other companies anyway. So when you call these candidates, they're probably already gotten an opportunity. This is your time to engage them and build a relationship and ask for referrals. Ask them, do you know anyone that has similar qualifications as you that may be looking? You'll be amazed how many people will forward your job description or forward that opening to their friends, to their coworkers, to someone that they know that's not currently unemployed but starting to look. You know, there's a lot of people I've run across that, hey, he's not unemployed, but he's been looking for a while, but he just haven't found the right thing. Let me go ahead and email him your job, or let me go ahead and let him know. Can I send him your contact information? This has happened to me, you know, countless of times. So you definitely want to ask these people for referrals if all possible. Use references for referrals. That's another one. If you have a job opening that requires several positions to be filled, you know, this came with a position that, hey, you may be looking for an engineer, but you may need 3 of them, or you may be 4 of them. This is the time to start using those references. I don't know if people are still checking references nowadays. I sure do, you know, but some people don't check references. They just want them. You know, if you're not going to use them, because, you know, I've come across people that, you know, my own personal colleagues that they've applied to jobs, and, you know, they'll tell their references or put down references, and, you know, their references said they, you know, the company never called me, you know, so that also shows that a lot of references aren't being checked out here. If you are checking references, ask them for referrals. This is the same thing with a particular event that happened to me, is that we actually onboard a candidate for a job, and, you know, I was doing my due diligence of checking the references, and I knew they had 2 other openings for a similar position, you know, and while I was checking references and building a rapport and building a relationship with the person I was taking the reference from, I asked them, I said, hey, you know, this company hired your XYZ, and usually it's either a former boss or a coworker or a colleague or someone they worked with in the past. I asked them, like, hey, you know, this company is also looking for X, Y, and Z. Do you know anyone? You know, and you'll be amazed. Once again, you'll be amazed how many people are eager to help you. You know, if I actually had some people send me references of, you know, they'll give me the referral or the reference I need, and they'll send me other candidates. They'll send me 2 or 3 other people in their contact information. Give so-and-so a call. He's looking. Give this person a call. So definitely use references for referrals as well. Companies to target. Say that you use the resume to source for references or referrals, and the same thing with the references, you use them for referrals. And say that you're not getting anything, start targeting the companies. What we do as headhunters, that's what we usually do anyway. We look for competitors and target them. But not only competitors, if you're starting to see a trend, and we love trends over here. We like to look for trends, but when you start seeing a trend of different type of or different caliber of candidates coming for a certain company, start targeting that company. And there's a lot of things that you can do, because we actually had top talent come from a particular company. You know, one person applied and got hired on. Hey, that's where we start zooming in on that particular company, because we found that that company had some awesome candidates. They had some great talent. And of course, for the legal issues or the legal issues that may be involved in this, like if you have any type of non-competes or and just off of ethical reasons, there are companies out there that, you know, they trust and respect and they don't want to recruit from. Totally acceptable. I understand that. And that's the same thing if you do have a non-compete in place with your competitor. Of course, you can't, you know, you don't want to recruit from that particular company. But everyone else is pretty much fair game. So you do want to be able to use companies to target top talent. Once again, that's something that you want to do. And the numbers that are highest now is 65%. There's a lot of talent out there that are looking but not actively looking. And I think the last report I read that 65% of employees are dissatisfied with their job. That's more than half of the workers out there are in a job they don't want to be in, or looking to make a career move, but just don't have the time. And me as a headhunter, when I've called different candidates, I've actually heard a sigh of relief, as if, you know, I just haven't had time to look for a job, but I'm open to career opportunities. What do you have? You know, and you'll get that when you start making those calls. And again, we go back to the basics. We do a lot of cold calling and just targeting and zooming in on different companies. But that's what we do to find a lot of our top talent. And you'll be amazed how many times I've come across candidates that they're looking, they want a career move, but they just haven't had the time to do it. And believe me, looking for a job is a job. So you definitely want to use your resumes to your advantage. You want to build relationships with this. At the same time, build your brand. The same people you won't hire or can't hire or just doesn't fit that criteria will lead you. Will lead you to others that will. So you definitely want to take advantage of using those resumes. My last one was stop building a database. You know, if you're not going to use the resumes, why are you building a database? You're not going to reach back out to them. You're not going to, you know, it is, you know, a lot of times they keep them on file for 90 days. You know, what's the odds of a position coming up that's going to fit someone's criteria in 30 to 60 days? You know, it happens. But more times than less it doesn't. And I think one of my clients have asked me if I'd had a database, and to be totally honest, I don't have a database of resumes. I don't have a database of 1,000, 2,000 resumes. And the reason is that we have people that we built relationships with, that we have on our newsletter, that we, like, again, that log in to take these workshops. But these are people that are already engaged with our brand. You know, I don't have to hound them down to give them a career opportunity. In fact, they're checking our website for career opportunities. They're attending our webinars and our workshops to see if there's anything available. So we already have them engaged. So we don't have to create this huge database of resumes that you're not going to use. So definitely do yourself a favor, do your IT team a favor, and just stop building a database of resumes that are just going to sit there. If you're going to build a database, use them. You know, reach out to those resumes and get referrals. Source from those resumes. Look at the companies of where these people are working on those resumes. Use those resumes to your advantage if you are going to use resumes, or if you're going to store resumes. Well, it's me, Career Innovations. Again, that's the website is career-innovate.com. As I said before, definitely check out the blog about pertaining to job boards. I did want to go ahead and give credit to where I got a lot of the data that I got. The jobs board survey was done by the job board doctor. Again, if you take a look at the blog, I have a link on there that you can actually click to directly to his site. Fast Facts was done by Media Bistro. Again, you can Google Media Bistro if you wanted some more statistics on social media. Fast Facts. Social media facts also was done by Social Bakers. That was the one dealing with Twitter and with Facebook at the very beginning. So I did want to give credit to those outlets as well. This is my direct contact information, my email and my direct phone number if you do have any questions or concerns. What I'm going to do now is open up the line for that, the questions and concerns. You do have on your panel the option to either raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I definitely unmute your line. That way you can ask your question. And you also have the option to type your question at the bottom using the chat box. So you can actually type your question using that as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the line for that. And if you have any questions, definitely type them in there. Okay, I have a first question. What is the best job board? The best job board, I really can't say. Again, it's really up to the industry and what you're trying to recruit for. I don't have a one size fit all approach on recruiting. And anyone that does is being dishonest. There's no one job board out there, no one website or any type of tool that's going to generate everything that you need. So I cannot sit here and tell you if you use this job board, you're going to get 100%, fill rate, or if you use this job board, I can guarantee that, all your recruiting problems will be, would disappear. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of great job boards out there. And again, in the same breath, there's a lot of, job boards out there that are useless. Through trial and error, a lot of the big job boards are getting good with using social media integrated, which I think is great, so you can actually get that job out to a bigger platform. The three that I told you about are one of the three big job aggregators as far as your Indeed, your Simply Hired, and your Glassdoor. So I think those are good, but can I sit here and say what's the best job board? No. It really is your industry. I really think that you should be utilizing niche job boards if all possible. That's where you're going to find candidates in your industry down to what you're looking for, down to a T, because a lot of times that's where those individuals are going to do their search for, some niche job boards. So I couldn't give you a direct answer on what's the absolute best job board out there. Again, everything has its pros and cons. You're not going to have one job board better than the other. It really depends on what you're using the job board for. So unfortunately, that's not one thing that I can just co-sign on one particular thing. There is a thing that for technology, and that's why I said I wanted to do a workshop on social media technology, which is an open source that I know DICE uses that actually extracts different types of profiles from different social media outlets. So instead of you having to log in and do a search on each individual outlet, it actually extracts all the information for you and keeps it in this open source portal. Again, if you have the budget to actually get this, because you of course have to have the access to their either monthly or annual subscription, that you will have have an open web or open source that you can do this. There's other ones out there. Again, you can Google open source recruiting or open web recruiting, and you'll actually see a lot of different technologies that are coming that's starting to pretty much extract different information from different parts of the web to put together a profile for different keywords that you search within their portal. Next question. What is the toughest challenge in recruiting, or what type of challenges do I face in recruiting? The different challenges is, to me, I would say, is sometimes locating the people or locating the talent. But I think that's a challenge that everyone faces. And again, I actually have clients ask me, how do you find these people? And again, I don't have a one word or one database answer to say this is where I find these people at. Go there and then your problems will be solved. It's a combination of everything I talked about in this presentation. It's a combination of social media, being visible, being a leader in your industry, joining associations in the industry forums, being active in blogs, being active in discussion groups. It's a combination of everything to actually get what I get. And it really goes back to going to the basics as well. Me just reaching out, me just picking up the phone, calling top talent in different industries that I'm looking for. And it really goes back to that as well. Just reaching out to the top talent, searching for them, reaching out to them, and just building that type of relationship. So that probably would be the most challenging part, is finding the talent. But once you find the talent, it's just about getting them engaged and building that relationship all the way around. So you want to definitely do that. And there's so many resources out there now that's making finding top talent a little bit more easier, because people are being more and more visible online than ever before. So someone that you probably couldn't find on LinkedIn, you can find on Facebook, or someone that you couldn't find on Facebook may be in a Yahoo group or a link, or some other type of association or group that you're a part of. And I found talent so many different ways by using those things and putting a lot of those things that I use in place to make it possible. Okay, let me go ahead and see if there are any more questions at the bottom. And again, if you have a question, you want to speak it, you can raise your hand and I'll unmute your line and you can ask your question. Okay, another one question. Are Boolean searches effective? Boolean searches are effective if done right. And that's the key word. If they're done correctly, you can dig up gold with doing a Boolean search. We personally use Boolean searches because a lot of the open source that I was speaking of previously is doing the same thing, using keywords to extract different information on the web. That's no different than doing a Boolean search without the price tag. And I'm pretty sure they got other high-tech ways of doing it as well, and that's what you're investing in, is the technology, and I'm pretty sure they have other ways and other techniques they're using to get this information. But that's one thing you can do, is Boolean searches. To answer your question, it is effective if done right. You can simply go to Google and do a search, and then as you're searching, you have an option to do an advanced search, and it pretty much will walk you through on what to put in parentheses, what to put in quotation marks, what to say not or add. It will actually walk you through that process, or at least give you some insight on how to do it. Or you can simply just Google, do Boolean searches and look at a YouTube video, and they'll break it down on how to do it on your own if that's something you want to do. The investment in Boolean searches is time. You do have to invest time in doing Boolean searches, because not one search alone is going to give you the results you need. You're going to have to put in several searches, different types of ways, put in several strings, different type of ways to extract the information that you're looking for. But at the end of the day, if done correctly, yes, Boolean searches do work. Well, let me go ahead and wrap everything up. I do not see any more questions. I'm going to go ahead and wrap everything up. Again, my contact information is on the last slide. You can definitely give me a call directly. You can book appointment online. I'm using our online booking system, or you can shoot me an email. The recording will be sent to all the attendees as well as the absentees. I also will be sending a PDF format of this presentation. Since this isn't slides, you'll actually get individual PDF formats of everything that I went over today. Definitely check out the website to see what other available events that we have coming up. I'll keep everyone updated on the social technology webinar that we're going to put together as well, that will dig more deeply into some of the technologies I was talking about. Again, like I said, that's a workshop all its own. Thank you very much. I hope everyone enjoyed their day. Thank you. Goodbye.